Well, I think it's important that we recognise that actually those who still remember the Holocaust are getting fewer and fewer each year. Two survivors of the Holocaust have come from London to obviously remember what happened during the Holocaust, but also to vow to never forget. And the bad news is that 75 years after the liberation of Auschwitz, we're seeing a rise of anti-Semitism across Europe, including London. We're seeing a rise of nativist populism. And I think it's really important that we redouble our efforts to remember the right lessons from the Holocaust.
You talked there about anti-Semitism, and actually I've been talking to survivors of the last couple of days or so, and the thing that they're concerned about is that. I mean, what can you and others do across Europe to try and tackle that?
Well, what we in London have done, which is very important, is donated £300,000 to make sure Auschwitz-Birkenau is preserved and conserved in its authentic form. Why is that important? Because as time goes on, those who lived through the Holocaust, who can tell their stories, obviously are passing away with age. So we've got to make sure we bring children, we bring others to concentration, extermination camps like Auschwitz-Birkenau so they can see for themselves the scale of the attempts by the Nazis to exterminate the Jews. More than 1 million perished at Auschwitz, more than 6 million during the Second World War, and we forget at our peril.
And just finally, you've spoken to survivors, we all have, and it is, when you look back, a scar on our history. I mean, there is talk, though, again about kind of, the rise of the right, and many people say that anti-Semitism is the kind of the canary in the coal mine in this sense. I mean, if you got concern about our politics now, not just by the rise of anti-Semitism, but that, as you say, as that history fades.
Oh, absolutely. The first event I attended as the mayor was a Yom HaShoah event to pay tribute to and meet survivors, and it's humbling. And what breaks my heart is there are those who still seek to deny the Holocaust took place, and it's really important we are vigilant to the rise of hatred, to the rise of anti-Semitism, and it is the canary in the mine. It's a fact of life that in the USA, across Europe, including here in Poland actually, including our own country, the UK, London, the most diverse city in the world, there has been an increase in the last few years of anti-Semitism, a rise in hate crime. We've got to, as politicians, be mindful of our language, but also be mindful of the fact that the rise of nativist populism, anti-Semitism occurred in the 1930s, and we saw how that ultimately ended. We've got to make sure those of us who aren't Jewish stand shoulder to shoulder with the Jewish community and are vigilant towards all forms of hatred.